Hey, welcome to another episode of Pinups, Cool Cats, and Comics. I am Dennis with my guest co-host V.
Hi, everyone.
Teresa will be out one more week, I believe,
One more week.
and then she'll be back as a regular co-host here. She'll be finished up with school, and we can move on. But let's recap last week real quick. We had Joey on, Joey Nuccio,
Joey, yep.
and he's an actor at. Well, he's a lot of things, but one of the things he's an actor at one of the haunted houses.
Chamber of Horrors.
Chamber of Horrors, right. But he also, the main thing that I want to push is that he does a lot for charity.
He does.
We are going to be setting up some sort of fundraiser to raise money because what he does is he makes one kid's Christmas very special. It's usually a kid with, a serious illness like cancer. And I believe the child this year's name is Alex.
Alex, yes.
Wow, I actually remember the name. But yeah, we're going to be setting something up for that soon, so keep a lookout for that. And tonight basically is going to be our Halloween special. We went to a haunted house. If you remember when Jeff Livingston was on, he works at the Gateway Theater.
Gateway's Haunted Playhouse.
Right. So one of the things they do is they put on the haunted house.
Yes.
And we went through there, and we got some video of that and some stuff. But before we get into that, we're going to go through the sponsor, and we got a guest phone call tonight. We're going to have Rob Romeo calling because he's got a nice Halloween special going on this Wednesday, which he's going to tell us all about. So let's get into it. Kayla Logistics, where your business is our priority. Moving products you use every day across the country and around the world. Contact Frank Zambuto for all of your domestic and international logistic projects. Frank has over 20 years experience working with many name brand companies in the apparel, cosmetics, as seen on TV, and electronic industries. For trucking, air, and ocean cargo on all 7 continents, all you need is one solution. For trucking, air, and ocean cargo, I said that already. I'm getting messages. Hold on, Rob. I'll be waiting a second. To all Cool Cat listeners, just mention our show, and Frank will offer free cost and transit time analysis for all your cargo. When cost and time matter, we deliver. Frank Zambuto and Kayla Logistics, where your business is our priority. And you can reach Frank directly at 347-536-3933. And when I tell you Frank is the best, I mean it. He is the best.
He's the best. He's a hard worker. He
can answer all your questions about tariffs, if they're good or
Yes,
bad or whatever else. So, yeah, I'm just going to give Rob the go ahead to call in now. And he should be calling in any second. And he's going to explain, because he's got something going on, I believe it's what, in Treem in Iceland?
Treme.
Treme. I'm not fancy. Hey, Rob, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Rob.
All right, you are on the air with us. I got Veronica in with me tonight. Unfortunately, Teresa couldn't be here.
Hi, Veronica. How you doing?
Hi, Rob. I'm good. How are you?
Doing wonderful.
Awesome.
All sorts of busy, but no rest for the wicked, as they say.
That's right. So you have this gig at Coney Island, I believe?
Yeah, and starting the end of the week, I'm going to be performing in a show about Al Capone at Coney Island through November. But right now we're still just focused on Halloween, too, even though we're getting tech rehearsals and stuff done over here.
Right.
So what exactly, I know you have a big event planned this Wednesday, so why don't you go through exactly what it is?
Well, it'll be intimate. It's not like the hugest, but it's going to be a great night. We're going to be at Treme in Islip on Wednesday night for Halloween. It's a small jazz club in Islip, and that's going to be starting at 9 o'clock at night. It's something I've been cooking up for a while. It's called the Devil's Ball.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes, I'm 99% sure I will be there at this point. As long as I don't get stuck at work for any reason, you are my number one priority that night. So hopefully that comes true.
I do hope so. It's going to be a grand time. It's going to be pretty awful in certain respects, but it's going to be fantastically everything it's supposed to be.
Can you give us some hints of what type of entertainment will be there?
Well, I have separated the night into a couple of parts because there's some live music and there's some sideshow and there's some things that I really can't talk to you about over the wavelengths. But
Oh, we
some
are
of
an
the
R-rated
things that you'll
show,
get
so
a
you
whiff
can get away
of
with
that
a
are
lot.
pretty close to brand new are compiled some little known historic tales of evil things that have happened right here on Long Island, some hometown horrors, as it were. We'll do some dramatic depictions of those. It's going to be a whole set of music going, and we have a game show that pits the audience against the devil himself for their very souls. And I have some sideshow performers. Some of my favorite people are going to be in the show with me. I have Damian Pacheco that's going to be playing trumpet with me, and I have Cameron Catastrophe from Philadelphia coming in, and I have Keita St. Cyr from New York, who's a wonderful performer as well.
Yes,
Great. I don't know if any of you guys have been to any of Rob's events, any Twisted Circus events, but we have.
Oh, yes.
Let me tell you something. There are definitely a lot of fun.
no two shows are alike. I can say
No,
that.
no. And the entertainment is always top notch, and again, it's what you would expect and more.
Yes.
I guess that's the right way to put it, Rob.
Well, we're doing some things that are familiar to history, but not familiar to most people. There's
Right.
some dangerous acts. There's some sexually charged acts, and I don't know. Every time you get to see it, I'm sure there's a little something new to it. This one especially has a bit more to it. The devil's in the details, as they say.
Nice.
Nice.
I do have a special incentive for you folks tonight, too. If you
was-
want to come see the show, we were going to do a speakeasy password for your listeners tonight.
Speakeasy password. Ooh,
Yeah.
like
So,
that.
Are you ready for it? I'll lay it on you right on the air. It's half price admission, so it's $10 to get in instead
Okay.
of $20 at the door.
Let's have it.
All you got to do is walk up to the door and tell them that the devil made me do it.
I like it.
Nice.
And I'm going to write that down so I can repeat that before we end the show.
The devil made me do it.
So if you have nothing going on Wednesday night, or if you want to try something a little bit different, definitely check
Even
it
if
out.
you do, cancel your plans. Come join us.
That's a great point.
Sin
That
is
is a great
in, you
point.
bastards.
There's nothing you have planned that's going to be quite what this event is.
And there's good food at Treme.
Yes,
I really
there
wish
is.
I
Very
could tell
good
you
food.
more, but some things are getting kind of crazy, and I can't even tell you.
Okay, well, that alone, for you to say something's crazy, got me intrigued. I'm ready. But you have any other Twisted Circus events coming up that you want to promote before we end?
It looks as though we're going to be doing something at Monsoon on the 18th of November. We're also going to be up at Toro Tapas and Tequila in Patchogue.
That was a
I
fun place,
believe
too.
that's going to be on the 10th of November. And stay tuned for the inaugural Black Rabbit event, which will be our Speakeasy Society's first gig.
That's
We're
right.
looking to do it.
Yes.
I believe it's going to be the first week of December, but tickets will be happening in November for that. So keep tuned. That's going to be a whole new beast of interesting jazz age fare that takes a pretty hard left turn come midnight.
I almost forgot about that because the last
I
time you
can't
were on
wait.
our show, you actually were promoting the Black Rabbit idea was very new.
Yes. Very,
And
very
I-
nice.
Yeah,
little-
that's
very,
going to
very
start
cool
coming
little
through
trailer.
right soon. We've been doing some gigs under that name now and starting to transition some of the more jazz age stuff out of Twisted Circus and bringing it into this foray. But expect those to be both beautiful and high stakes and wonderful, and include the Long Island Swing Syndicate and a number of other really cool organizations on Long Island.
Very cool.
Very, very cool.
We're definitely going to have you in studio again, especially now that we're in the new place. And
I'm sorry I couldn't be there in body today. I'm certainly there in spirit.
hey, when you're the leader of the Twisted Circus, Halloween week is pretty busy, I'm sure.
Right.
And you
Yeah,
lots
we got
of cool
some
stuff going
pretty
on.
spoopy friends, and they're in pretty high demand.
Yeah, because unfortunately, tonight my goal was to have a couple of representatives from Long Island Paranormal on the show. But unfortunately, just like with you, they have a very busy week this week as well.
Yes.
So as much as we tried, we just couldn't make it work out. So
The next time we set something up, I will do something specifically visual for your viewing audience. So if you want to get me in studio, we'll definitely do something that will make them want to watch the podcast.
I still would like to do some joint thing, come down and get some footage and, promote you more on the show as well.
That would be fantastic. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to
So
push?
with that, I would like to bid that you gather round, one and all, because it's time to greet the devil's balls.
All right, Rob, take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right, that was Rob Romeo.
I love him.
And yeah, he's a great guy. He puts on some really cool shows.
Yes.
Hey, Terry, what's going on? Terry Thomas tuning in. I used to work with him at Cablevision,
Oh, wow.
and he also was part of, the crew in Belmore and everything when we used to hang out.
Okay.
But anyway, like I said, my goal was to have a couple people from Long Island Paranormal tonight. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, but they will be back on. They definitely want to come on, but it was a horrible week.
This is a tough week for a lot of
If I would have done that in the beginning of the month, it probably would have worked out. But I know they just was it last night? I believe it was last night. They were doing a live thing at Katie's of Smithtown.
Oh, okay.
They were filming and trying to get some.
Yes, I have heard it. It's haunted.
Yes, and there's been other people there that have gotten stuff before, so
And
they're
we've been
checking
in
it out
that basement
themselves.
twice.
Yes.
It is a bit spooky, that
Yeah.
basement.
I'd love to do something with them too. So hopefully I can get to go out with them on the road one time. But anyway, last Wednesday, V and I went to the Gateway, like we were saying earlier, and it's a really cool place. I didn't even know where to begin with it. First of all, Wednesday night we went there early, so it was
Yes.
it was very convenient. We got to park in a great spot and get right in. Very gracious people there right off the bat. From security at the gate to steering us in the right direction to see the people that we had to see to get in.
Yep.
And I want to make sure I get this out of the way first because I don't want to overlook this because it's a very cool thing that they do, which I haven't seen before. When you pay to get in, you get a number. So instead of
Yes.
waiting on a long line, which, on a Friday or Saturday night, and I'm sure this Wednesday,
Yeah, you don't
it's
wanna
going to be
just-
extremely long.
You don't want to
You're
just
standing
stand in
on
a
this
line
for an
and
hour
wait
or
for
more.
your turn to get in.
So you could actually just hang out and wait for your number to be called. And there's other stuff going on, which we'll show you a little
Yes.
bit later, including a bar. So if you want to hang out, have a couple of beers, a couple of glasses of wine while you're waiting for your number to be
cider.
called. Well, if you want to do that too, it'll be boring, but yeah, you can hang out there and wait for your number to be called, and you walk through. And what's really cool about it, you get the most for your money there. It's a half hour at least, I believe. That it
Half
took us
hour to walk
there.
through the house, yes.
And there is everything there. I mean, sight, sound, smell. Animatronics.
They hit all the senses.
Video, live actors, everything else. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to show you a video of the walkthrough that we did. V was brave enough to throw a camera on and walk through with me. And
I went in first, believe it or not.
yeah, because otherwise it would have been a lot of video of my back, which I'm sure nobody really wants to see. But yeah, Bobby, if you could play that first video. And here it is.
Oh, God.
You like clowns?
I don't mind them.
So you get a little taste of what was a half hour. So obviously that
Yeah.
was
We don't
very little of it. We didn't want to give too much of it away. But
Leaves the element of surprise for those who still want to go. There's still time.
yeah, when you walk in, you go through the building, then you come out to the midway area.
Yes.
Then when you go in, you get your ticket. They bring you into the theater,
Yeah. It's like
and it's
a
an old
holding
theater.
area.
And the little girl there was awesome.
That-
There was a couple of young boys and this little girl, and the little girl had the makeup on. You saw a little piece of her in the video.
Mm-hmm.
But she had the creepy factor down. The walk, the look, the point,
Yep.
play with my doll. So it's a lot of fun. I would definitely highly suggest going out there. And the staff there, we dealt with 3 people in particular.
Scott, Michael, and Paul.
Right. And Scott was our go-to guy that when we first got there, he
Yes.
introduced us to Mike. And they set everything up and allowed us to go through with the camera, and we definitely appreciate that. That was really cool.
That was very nice of them.
And then when we came out, we had a little interview with Mike and Paul,
Yes.
and we'll show you a piece of that if you want to play video number 2. Hey, what's up? This is Dennis from Pinup School Cats and Comics, and Veronica and I just went through the Gateway Haunted Playhouse. So we got some of the guys here. We got Mike and Paul, and why don't you tell us a little bit about the haunt?
All right, wow. This is our 10th year for this haunted house. Every year it's significant. Every year is significant because the theme changes. So this year we have a little blast from the past sort of theme where we go back in time a little bit and get some of our favorite characters out here to scare you. Just went through. I mean,
Yes,
there's some memorable
it was really
moments in
good.
there.
What was great about this, you had a little bit of everything. You had special effects scares,
Sure.
you had jump scares, you had creepy scares. I don't want to give too much away, but sometimes walking around was a challenge. We'll just put it that way.
we definitely invaded the senses, right?
Yes.
So you should have seen things, heard things, felt things, smelled things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
and
shake
the
it
idea
up.
isn't just to make the most scary haunted house ever, because that would be a different kind of experience.
Right.
I think it's scary because of the anticipation.
Right.
Like
It's just because of the theme this year, but it was a big variety.
yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely
Yeah,
a big
yeah,
variety
yeah.
of things.
That's exactly right. I think it's a lot to do with theme. And you certainly don't get bored in there. There's certainly enough. There's certainly enough for every second that you're in this thing.
And if you notice, I am drinking a beer because they do have a full service bar here.
Right.
great.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was apple juice.
No.
I had
We
fun
have
with
apple, we have my apple cider.
Yeah, I had
too.
apple cider. It's warmer. Yeah, but no.
We'll probably go for that
Definitely have a bar.
afterwards.
No.
But you do. It's
We
not
definitely
just
have
a
a bar.
bar.
No, we have a wine and beer off at the bar. We have a midway with a buried alive coffin ride, which is a lot of fun. We have a shooting gallery, which is amazing. It's a laser lighted shooting gallery. People can check out a midway area that they can be a part of while you wait to go inside. There's also a boutique where we sell our t-shirts, which are really popular now. And some other Halloween and sort of haunt type
Paraphernalia.
Paraphernalia.
I know you have some interesting guest services out here too.
We do. We have a special guest service character that might be worth visiting, of course. But
It's
yeah,
intense.
And I got to tell you, I guess the actors obviously are legit actors because they were phenomenal.
They were.
Even the kids, when we walked in, there was this little girl that was so creepy. It was awesome. Awesome.
they're and I was mentioning other things we do here. We have a huge performing arts school, so a lot of our youth volunteer actors, they're a part of that acting school that we have here. But they study musical theater, acting for film, etc. Rich Walker teaches a comic stand-up class here. Halloween Wednesday. It's going to be awesome.
Well, guys, I definitely appreciate your time. And
very much, Dennis.
like I said,
Thank you.
watch on Monday, and we'll definitely push you guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Dennis.
All right, so that was a piece of the interview that we did with them.
Yes.
And a couple of things I want to mention. They are legit actors.
They are.
It is a real playhouse. It's not just set up for Halloween. It's
It
just
is,
that time of the year there was really not much going on, so they decided to utilize the space and make it a haunted house. But they do put on a lot of productions there.
They do. I've heard they have a fantastic production of Beauty and the Beast,
And
which is worth seeing.
yeah, so definitely I would check that out even for the other stuff that they have there. But
Yes.
definitely for Halloween. And Rich Walker was mentioned there, and Rich Walker, I know from the comic scene, he actually is one of the instructors from the Brokerage Stand-Up University, and I took that course a little over a year ago
A little
now
over
at
a
this
year,
point.
yep.
And they were very helpful with everything, and I've developed a relationship with him over time. And it was funny enough because we're walking through, and then he's there, and I thought he was just there to walk through. It turns out he works there. He works the guest services booth at some point, which we'll show you in a few minutes, and he also teaches there.
He does, yes.
So it's just a small world. And it was also cool because we ran into Robert Frankenberg and Tony Noto,
Yes.
who you know from our show that do their own haunted house, the Chamber of Horrors, where Joey works. And what's cool about that, it's a tight-knit community.
It is.
They all support each other. They all go to each other's haunts. They pick a night when they're off and the other ones are on, and they just go around and do the different
And
ones.
yes.
And I still want to try to get there this week, too.
Yes, I'd love to go to Chamber of Horrors.
Yeah.
I'd love to try that out.
I was there one day helping them set up, and I thought it was going to be easy, and it was a lot of work, and it was barely a drop in the bucket to the whole.
Right. I mean, I'm on a roll right
Production.
now. I did good in Salem with the 2 little haunted houses there.
Yeah, we
I
gotta
did,
test you out
I
because
did pretty good at the
They were probably
Gateway.
pretty nice to you, too, because they knew you were being. That you were
Yes, that
filming,
is true.
But I like to see what happens. I'd like to try one of the lights out thing one year. Unfortunately, I don't think this
The
is
glow
going to be the year
stick,
for
yes.
it. But most of them seem to do it. And what it is, all the lights are off. You get one glow stick for the group. Some of them send you through backwards or whatever. So if you've been through it before and you think you know the place, you don't. If you drop the glow stick, if something happens to it,
That's
you're
it.
out of luck. you still have to try to continue to go through. Some of them have full contact nights
Yes.
where
That
you would
should be
sign
it.
off that you're okay with being touched and grabbed by the actors, and you get a piece of it that way. But just to give you an idea of how scary this one was, there was a group of younger kids before us.
They were about, what, 12 years old?
Yeah, probably in that range.
Between 10 and
and
12.
what they say, like 3/4 didn't make it
Three
through.
quarters and they make it through. Some of them barely made it through the beginning of the house and they just checked out.
So they do have non-scary times too. I
They
think during the
do.
day, and they also sell the amulets or whatever at the boutique.
The boutique, yes.
Where if you're really scared, you can wear one of these things and they won't
they won't
go after you as much as they
right.
would if you weren't wearing it.
Yeah, they have the special. I believe they said they have a special night for if you have any autistic children or people or kids that are very sensitive to a lot of sounds and lights.
Right. They do have a tone
They
down.
do, yeah. So those kids can get to experience a haunted house too, just at a softer level.
Yeah, I don't see it on this one. It's probably on a separate page, but you could always look it up on their website.
Right.
But again, I want to correct one thing I said. It was a full service bar. It's not. It's beer and wine.
And cider.
Right. It's not. There's no hard liquor. or
No
anything
hard
like
liquor.
that.
No beer, wine, cider, and
So
And out-
that's inside. On
Right.
the outside, there's the area where you can get some food,
some hot cocoa,
hot
some
cocoa,
hot cider.
There's a coffin ride over there. There's a boutique where they sell some
No souvenirs, T-shirts, stuffed animals,
the amulets for the safe
amulets,
passage
scarves.
through. And then there's the laser gun.
The
thing,
laser
which we
gun-
passed,
the
where
laser
it's
gun
like a carnival
range.
thing. If you get a certain amount of points, you win a prize.
Yes.
And there was also a guest service booth. Now, Rich wasn't in there this night, but what they do is they put a comedian in, and they have him basically
Interact
with the
with
crowd,
the guests.
heckle them and stuff like that. So I didn't want her to feel left out, or Captain Blood to be left
Yes.
out. So we also did an interview with Captain Blood. That's the last video we have for you today. So if Bobby, if you could play that one for us, and we'll end the videos with that. Hey, what's up? This is Dennis again from Pinhook School Cats and Comics, and I am with
Captain Blood.
Captain Blood. And what exactly, I see your guest services, what exactly do you do here?
A little bit of everything. I help people who need casket rides or directions, and I scare people, and I heckle people, and I talk to Uncle Festa.
Awesome.
Basically, I'm dead though.
Can't beat that. So what is the coffin ride exactly?
Coffin rider is you buy the token over here on the right of me, and then you go in the casket. They close it up, and they shake it all about, and there's a camera watching how scared you get.
Well, that might scare me. Would you come in there with me?
And now I'm nailed to this fence. They don't let me out of this box. I'm dead.
Right. Should she do it?
Yeah, absolutely, with the camera on, too.
Ooh, that would be good. You want to do a coffin ride?
Camera, whatever it is, microphone, what do you have in there? You hear you scream.
You hear her scream. Did you hear her screaming in the haunted house?
No, was it scary, Bob?
Yes, it was.
It was at some
Good,
point.
right?
Yeah.
Did she pee in her pants?
I did not.
like that.
The actors get badges, yellow badges, if they make someone pee in their pants, and there's even a brown badge,
Yeah,
too.
there's a green one as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's new.
Jeff was on our show. And he was the lowdown on it.
Green if they throw up.
You got it.
That's my friend. Hello, friend.
So you're stuck. You're nailed here, huh?
I'm nailed to the box.
Oh well. I was gonna see if you come over and take a coffee ride with us.
No, I think you should know.
So is there anything else people should know about coming here?
There's plenty to do. The lines are painless because you guys can drink, you can eat, you can take a casket ride, you can play games, you can talk to me, you can buy stuff. It's
That's
easy
one
to
thing
get
I
in,
like.
easy to get out.
You're not standing on a long line here. They actually give you a ticket and they call you when you're ready to go,
It's awesome.
which is really a great
No,
idea.
and it's about 30 minutes long once you get there, right? How long did it take you to get through?
It was at least a half hour.
At least a half hour, yes.
The actors are awesome. Well, the girls are awesome. I shouldn't say actors, right?
Just walking into the theater, the little kid, amazing.
Creepy little girl, yes.
Yeah,
In the jumpers, right? They were really scary.
they were great. So I highly suggest you come out here, and we're going to promote it. We're going to show the dates on Monday of the rest of the week of Finish at the Horn.
Yep, it goes right through Saturday. Next November 3rd.
So you definitely got to come out at least once. I wish I could come tomorrow night for the dark board, blackout. Anything else you want to say before we come off?
No, come on down to the gateway, on.
Bye.
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 Thank you. And that was Captain Blood.
Captain Blood.
So, as promised, they're scheduled for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, they're not there tonight, but tomorrow is the glow stick night,
Yes.
which starts at 7.
7 p.m., I believe.
7. So, from 7 to 10 is what we described before, where you walk through with only a glow stick for light, and everything else is completely pitch black. And Halloween, they're open from 7 to 11 with the standard haunted house. And then they're also open Friday and Saturday, the 2nd and 3rd, both from 7 to 10:30. So you can check out the Gateway Haunted Playhouse.
Definitely make it out there. It's
It's now you're someone who typically gets scared at the haunted houses. I don't know how many you've gone through. I would consider myself a veteran because I go through all of them. And I'm still waiting for that scary one. I haven't really gotten that yet, but I enjoy watching other people get scared. But I can appreciate a good one. This was really, for
This
me, it was
was
one of the
really
tops
good,
that I've
yes.
been to. Where would you rate it? How would you describe it?
It's I mean, of the few haunted houses I've done, I would rate this number 2 actually.
Wow. Okay.
Again, I haven't been to that many haunted houses.
What would be number 1? Just
I would have
out of
to say
curiosity.
Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando.
All right,
That
so
is,
it's second only to actual Hollywood
Actual
quality
movie sets, yes.
sets. So that's pretty impressive.
I've
because-
never tried Six Flags, for example. I believe Six
Eh.
Flags is one.
Yeah. I gotta go back to Universal. I don't to be honest with you, because I was watching the walkthroughs there. I don't think I've done it. I know I've done the Great Adventure one,
Okay.
which was okay. I like some of the ones around here better.
I would love to try Nightmare Factory in Toronto.
Yeah, we have to try that because they get some pretty cool videos.
Yes.
Yes, Bella, Gateway Haunted House was a very fun place.
It is a fun place. Definitely go check it out before by Saturday.
Yeah, and if you really dare and go tomorrow night with the glow stick night, hopefully,
Yes.
maybe get lucky.
I
We'll
mean,
get out early. and
I
see
went
what
in
to do.
first. I know I had the camera, but still, I was a little apprehensive. I didn't know what was going to make me jump. I did have a few scares here and there. One scare actually had me take a few steps back. I was really taken aback.
It was air, just so you know. That's what got her the worst, air.
That was not air.
It
That was
was
the
air.
head. That was a big hit, the giant
That,
head.
well, that got you too. But at one point, we were walking across the bridge, and it was pitch black, and the air came out. You walked backwards into me.
it's true,
And I had to put my hands
yeah.
on my shoulders and walk you through. And I even said to you that was just air. But it was cool, and what's good about it too, if you went through it once. Oh, this year they mentioned it was the 10th anniversary. So this was a time travel one. So you get a little piece of all the haunted houses. They change the theme every year.
They do,
But
yes.
this one had a piece of all the 10 years.
Of all the 10 years.
So it was pretty cool. So if you want to get a taste of stuff they've been doing, definitely check that out.
Yes. The travel through time.
Now, we're going to move on. Like I said, this is our Halloween special. So we're going to talk a little bit about the origins of Halloween
Yes.
and what started it initially, what got it over here, different facts about it, some interesting stuff. And I found it really interesting because Halloween actually started from the Celtics.
Yes, it's
I
many
had
people
no
believe it
idea
originated in Ireland.
A Boston basketball team would start Halloween. I mean, that's just amazing. to me. But no, really, it started over in that region, Ireland, Scotland, that Celtic region. It was tied into paganism.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a Celtic tradition. Do you have that anyway? I got it right here. It was actually, I forget how to pronounce it. That it's Samhain. That's originally what it was. It's spelled Samhian, but it's not Samhain. It's called Samhain.
Samhain.
Samhain was the original Halloween, and it said the Celts who lived 2,000 years ago in that area is now Ireland, United Kingdom, and northern France, and they celebrated their new year on November 1st. So they felt the 31st was the day. A lot of them have the similar tradition that the day. The 31st was the thin veil between living and dead. It's when the dead moved on. It's when your relatives came to see you. It's when the evil spirits came out. There was a lot of different things associated with it. And then the next day, it was a new year and it all starts over again.
Right.
So they would do different things. The jack-o'-lantern's actually pretty interesting too because it wasn't originally a pumpkin.
No, it was, I believe it started as a turnip.
Yes.
Turnip and sometimes potatoes.
And I'm trying to see, I don't know if it was in that or not, but the actual jack-o'-lantern was named after somebody named Jack. Oh, there he is. It was a stingy man named Jack who, because he tricked the devil several times, was forbidden entrance into both heaven and hell. So he was condemned to wander the earth, waving his lantern to lead people away from their paths. So that's how the jack-o'-lantern started. Those damn Irish, you can't trust them.
Nope.
You got some facts you want to read off there about Halloween?
Well, everybody knows that cats have a prominent place in Halloween everything. You think of Halloween, you either think of a witch, monster, or a cat. Mostly a black cat. Some people believe that cats were the familiars of witches, which is why it's become such a symbol for Halloween.
Yeah, it definitely got twisted. Once
Yeah,
it got to
it
America, you know how we do.
We
We twisted it,
we
made
change
it our
things
own.
and we blow it up.
Make our own rules up. American baby.
That's right.
But they were talking to about the ancient history here of Samhain, and again it says it believes when the ghosts of the dead return to Earth. In addition to causing trouble and damaging crops, the Celts thought that the presence of otherworldly spirit makes it easier for the Druids or the Celtic priests to make predictions about the future. So they would do all sorts of crazy stuff. They would build huge sacred bonfires where the people gathered to burn crops and animals as sacrifices to the
Nice.
spirits to help them out. The Celts wore costumes typically consisting of animal heads and skins and attempted to tell each other's fortunes. When the celebration was over, they relit their hearth fires, which they had extinguished early that evening, from the sacred bonfire to help protect them during the coming winter. So we're not the only crazy ones. They were pretty crazy.
They
back
were
then with
pretty
their
crazy
beliefs.
back then, yes.
Now the dressing up. I mean, they dressed up. Depending on the area and the time period, people dressed up for different reasons. Obviously, it said they did it for the sacrifices and to help read future and help their crops.
We did learn that tidbit in Salem.
But in Salem, yeah, they said what they did was they dressed the children. They believed the relatives would come see the dead relatives would come see the
Come to
children.
living, yes.
So they would dress them up in what they wanted to be.
And
in
what
the
they
future.
what they wanted the child to grow up to be. So if they wanted their son to be a farmer, they would dress up their son like a little farmer.
If you wanted to be a shipbuilder or
Or
winemaker, whatever it is.
Blacksmith.
Yeah, blacksmith, they would dress them up like that so their relatives, like the grandparents or whoever passed on, can see them and guide them in their path to that career.
Right.
Some sites we went to said they dressed up to scare away the evil spirits.
Yes.
Other sites said that wasn't true. So I guess it's fake news even when it comes to the origins of Halloween.
Right.
So I don't know which version's true, but I saw it was really only one, I think, that said that it wasn't true. So at some point they probably did dress up to scare
They probably did,
the
yes.
evil spirits away. Because,
Well, it originated from the ancient Celtic tradition of townspeople disguising themselves as demons and spirits. The Celts believed that disguising themselves this way would allow them to escape the notice of real spirits wandering the streets during Samhain.
which basically means protecting themselves from the spirits. So I guess there is truth to that.
But somewhere along the way, the dressing up just kind of evolved into dressing up like a
A sexy turnip.
a sexy turnip.
Because really, there was something about the original in the 20s when they started making actual Halloween costumes. And I don't know what I did with that, but, there was a company that started making it. It was all, like Popeye, whatever was big at
Yes.
that time. And then, as it went through, it was the horror characters. And then
Yes.
somewhere in the 2000s, it credited the sexy everything. 'Cause at this point, you really can find a
Sexy
or a
sexy
slutty
Super
version
Mario,
of anything.
sexy
Anything.
toothpaste.
If you don't
Who
believe me,
knows?
search sexy and put something after it in Halloween costume, and I bet you there's a version of it
Oh,
somewhere.
yes.
If it's not in the store, someone created it themselves. But the trick-or-treating, there's different things too. Some of them used to do it in celebration, and they would sing songs and do whatever, and they would get food and drinks when they went to the houses.
And little cakes and things like that.
Yeah, what do they call those cakes? Do you have that?
Soul cakes, I think.
Yeah, soul cakes.
Soul cakes. Yes.
Pretty obvious. The poor, it said in here, would go door to door offering prayers for the dead in exchange for soul cakes. Then at some point, again, between 1920 and 1950, the centuries-old practice of trick-or-treating was revived, and they started giving out candy and other things. So, it's,
Which is the most popular Halloween candy?
I would say the candy corn.
No, it's actually chocolate.
Oh. Well, I
Yes.
think chocolate's year-round. Candy corn is specific to...
Yeah, it's actually chocolate, which is the number one chocolate that kids like to get at Halloween.
Well, I know for me, it would be anything Reese's.
That's actually number two.
I
It's
know
among number two.
it's yeah, but I know for me it's definitely. Or you know what I used to love, those little mini Hershey ones. It was a Mr. Goodbar, the Hershey.
Yes.
What else was in there? The Hershey Dark.
Mr.
and-
Goodbar Hershey Crunch. No, that's Nestle.
No. And it was funny because you would only see it around Halloween.
Yes.
I loved it so.
I think that you can go to BJ's or Costco and get
Oh yeah, they still have
big
it.
bucket of that.
They definitely still give it out. But.
I believe Snickers is the number one chocolate.
Okay, that
that
makes
kids
sense.
like at Halloween.
Snickers.
And M&Ms and
good,
Reese's,
too.
I think, tie at number two.
Well, so now that Reese's has all the candies with the Reese's Pieces inside existing candies, they might take over the number one spot. over the
They
next couple of
might.
years.
They might. Reese's is not going anywhere.
Only half prefer to receive chocolate.
Yes.
What do the other half want? Toothpaste?
Probably candy corn and
Yeah. Well, there's other stuff too.
Yes.
Jolly Ranchers are a big hit too. I know with that. Sweet Tarts. and-
sweet tarts.
There's a lot of
Nerds
candies you only see.
at Halloween.
Yeah.
Did you know that Anoka, Minnesota is also a Halloween capital of the world, next to Salem?
No, I did not know
Yeah,
that.
it's
And
not
it's funny
just-
because I printed that out too. It just goes to show you I didn't read it.
It's not just Salem.
I know. Well, commercially, I do know it's the second biggest holiday of the year.
It is, yes.
Obviously, the number one commercial holiday would be Christmas. So,
But then you have other countries that they don't like Halloween because it's so over commercialized. Some countries don't even celebrate
well,
Halloween.
see, this is interesting because it says in many countries such as France and Australia, Halloween is seen as unwanted and overly commercial American influence.
Right.
But we didn't start it.
We didn't start it, the
It's
Europeans.
Celtic influence. they can still stick with the roots. But it's funny because it is actually a religious holiday, and as much as a lot of religions claim to be different from each other, a lot of them do share
A lot of
similar
similarities.
holidays and similar beliefs.
Yes. I think they
So-
believe that since, let's say Mexico, they celebrate Dios de los Muertos.
Los Dias de los Muertos.
Dias de
the
los
Day of the Dead.
Muertos. Which
And
is
on
their-
here it says, isn't Halloween a Christian thing? It says Halloween also marks the day before the feast of All Saints Day.
That's right.
Also known as All Hallows, which would be All Hallows Eve, Halloween.
Yep.
And that dates back to the 8th century and was designed to stamp out pagan traditions and convert people to Christianity. On this day, Christians would honor the saints and pray for spirits who hadn't yet reached heaven. Sound familiar? So there are a lot of similarities. Whether it was done intentionally, like it kind of hints to here, to steal the pagan followers and make them Christian followers, going, hey, we got the same stuff you do, but better. Come
That's
on
right.
over. Or if they just had similar beliefs. You know, it's pretty interesting because even
Yeah.
if you look at the Old Testament, there's a lot of similarities between that, the Torah, the Quran, and just, you know, there's a lot of tie-ins with pagan
of
religions.
similarities, yes.
There's actually, well, we learned when we went to Salem too, there's actually not a known or acknowledged Wiccan book.
No,
There are
isn't.
books on it, but there's not like a Wiccan Bible, so to speak,
Right.
that's acknowledged by them.
Right.
But they follow a lot of the same practices too.
They do.
So it is pretty interesting how everything ties
How
together.
Halloween evolves, and it's actually sad. I think that some countries don't even celebrate Halloween. I mean, as some of you know, I grew up in Haiti, and Haiti doesn't celebrate Halloween. My brother and I we acknowledged it when it was Halloween Day, but we couldn't go out and dress up because people would have looked at us like, "Are you crazy?" So unless you were hanging out with other American friends, I mean, I guess Haiti's, I wouldn't say Haiti's version of Halloween, but the only time you really get to dress up in Haiti would be around Carnival, Mardi Gras. That's where you get to go crazy and dress up. But it was
And
kind of sad growing up
a
there
lot
and
of
not
those
being
too,
able to go
they're
trick
just
or treating.
tie-ins to the spirits and whatever
Yes,
in their
yes.
festival. So everyone's got their version of it, whether they call it Halloween or not.
Right.
To me, though, like some places want to. I wish I would have printed it out when I saw it because I didn't even think to look for it again.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, they want to put age limits on trick or treaters, and it was young too. I forget the age, whether it was 10, 11, 12, whatever it was.
Let kids be
And
kids.
you know what? Let them have fun.
I mean,
So
even if
what?
you have teenagers showing up at your door, hey, they're not out doing bad stuff.
I'll
They're-
admit, I was a
they're
kid
collecting
that went out
candy.
trick or treating. Then when I got old enough to be a teenager, I did go out with the shaving cream and eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't damage any property. It was just for battles with other kids with shaving
Right.
creams and eggs. And usually you'd end up seeing your friends and having to fight with them, then join groups and then go look for other groups. And you know, it was all fun. And then we'd hose off and go in.
Right.
But when we got tired or hungry or whatever, we would knock on a few doors and trick or treat. So I was always smart enough to bring some semblance of a costume, whether it be a ski mask or something, and just say I was something. Where friends, you know, what are you supposed to be? I don't know. Like, all right, get out of here. What are you supposed to be? Oh, I'm a bank robber. Oh, here you go. You know, so you got to be smart about it. So if someone
That's
comes to my
right.
house in a costume, I'm never home anymore, unfortunately. So I can't really give stuff out. I'm usually at work or doing something like. I'm gonna be at work and I'm gonna come home and basically change and go out to Islip for the
Yes.
Rob's show. Which again, if you go, it's at Treme and say the devil made me do it, and you get in for half price and see what the devil made her do.
Yes.
But it's
Whoops.
there's a you know, I tried the bowl outside with the please take one.
That really
Worked
works.
once. The second year, the first group or whatever came and just wiped the whole thing out. So I got an ingenious plan for this year.
Okay.
I'm going to put an empty bowl out that just says, please take one. I don't even have to buy candy now.
How about please leave me one? And you
Well,
go
no,
home
because the
and
whole
get a bowl of
point.
candy.
What usually happens is you can never estimate in my neighborhood. I don't know if anybody else has the same problem. One year I didn't get much candy, and because many trick or treaters haven't been coming to my house.
Right.
And all of a sudden, like, I got so much, I ran out. I had to shoot down to CVS, buy a bunch of candy, and come home. And then I didn't get too much after that, so I ended up with a bunch of extra candy. So the next year, I prepped for it. I said, all right, there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood now. I'm going to buy a bunch of candy. So I'm set. hardly got any. So I ended up with a bunch of candy. So in order to not eat it, I'm just not going to buy any, and I'm just going to put the empty bowl out, and I'm all set. I'm really not going to
I
do
wonder
that.
nowadays, like all those the Ring camera. You can just stay inside and say, "I'm watching you. Just take one."
I have
I'm
cameras
watching
outside
you.
my house too, and I could have done the same thing.
But the Ring, is a two-way. You can actually speak to the
Yeah,
person.
but I honestly at that point I knew they were doing it, and I just didn't care. 'Cause I had to go to work that night, and I was in bed, and I was sleeping, and I was let them have it. As long as they don't steal my bowl, I don't care.
Okay.
Anything else about Halloween you want to?
Yeah, I like
Okay.
I like dressing up. I like dressing up for Halloween. I like some of the costumes, whether it's store bought or you come up with something creative. It's just I love seeing the creativity that goes into some of those costumes. And sometimes it's just a little kid and what they think of, like, wow, why didn't I think of that?
If you're watching, you want to chime in, definitely type in
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Tell us about
But
like your favorite
I
costume.
miss the old costumes.
The
You know
old-
the plastic thing,
plastic
basically
sheet.
just drawn on. No. The plastic.
the plastic
Whatever you want to call
Poncho?
it. Yeah, poncho with the hard plastic mask that would cut into you. That was extremely flammable
And
because
you-
that's great for kids.
you could barely see out of it or
or
breathe out of
breathe.
it.
Yeah, you'd sweat, and it had that smell, which I'm
Yes.
sure is probably great for you too, whatever chemicals you were breathing
those
in.
were the good old days. Those were,
But they were awesome costumes. And,
They were,
and
they were.
I want to know if anyone knows if they make adult-sized versions of them anywhere.
In
Let me
fact,
know.
that reminds me of something.
Yes. Or Halloween. Oh. Is this going to break it when I put it around my head?
Little old school Halloween masks.
See, they do make adult-sized. This fits.
Yes.
Hey, brother. What you going to do when Halloween one's riled on you?
I could
Should have
not.
done this earlier in the show. You could have done the whole show like this.
I could not resist when I saw it. I was like, "Oh my god, I have to buy these."
This is great. I might have to go to work like this on Wednesday.
Yes.
This is awesome. But for the rest of the show, so I can breathe and you can hear me without being muffled, I will take it off. But that's great. Thank you. Another thing that's associated with Halloween that I wanted to get into, because we don't have that much time left, the movies and the shows.
Yes.
Now, it's sad to say, one of the scariest shows that were on TV just got canceled recently, and I'm surprised because I figured it would have at least finished the month out. The Kardashians got canceled.
So sad.
And that,
So sad.
you want to talk about scary.
Ooh.
I don't know if you can get much scarier than that, so it's a shame, so, But, what's your guys' favorite shows and movies? I know the big stuff right now is,
The Halloween special for sitcoms. They all have the network.
yeah, but to say, as far as movies and show go, a lot of movies, the horror genre is coming back.
Yes.
It kind of died out for a while. They always make it, some movies, but they got really lame for a while. Then there'd be good ones sprinkled in here and there. But this year alone, there was a bunch that came out,
Including
Halloween, which I've heard very good things about. I haven't seen it yet. The Nun, I've heard good things about. I haven't seen it
I've
yet.
heard things about The Nun, yes.
Because that's the other thing too. I got so bored of going to horror movies because I've seen so many that they're all predictable at this
Yes.
point. So now that I've kind of removed myself from it, maybe I could go back and start appreciating it again.
Well, that's what was it in the 90s when the Scream series came out?
Yeah.
That the whole premise of the movie, they were making
that's why
fun
I
of all
enjoyed it, because
the
they used all the
yeah.
the movie cliches.
the old running upstairs. If you hear
Yeah.
a sound, somebody's running after you, go upstairs, where there's obviously no escape unless you jump off the roof, or you hear a sound and you go, "Is somebody there?" Like
Well,
the killer's
they-
gonna say, "Yeah, it's me. I'm here to kill you."
They don't. Actually, someone came out with rules for a horror movie. If
Yeah.
you want to survive a horror movie, one, don't be black.
Don't be black.
They usually get killed off first.
Don't have sex.
Don't have sex. Don't separate from the group.
Don't separate from the group. That's right.
Don't run, because whoever runs somehow ends up tripping it.
Well,
And
yep.
the slow-moving
This-
killer, which you pick the movie. There's always a slow-moving killer that somehow ends up in front of him, even though they were standing there the whole
and
time.
you're doing a little weird run.
Yeah. What else was there? There were some other rules too. But basically, if you want to survive, be a goody-goody virgin,
Yep.
and you'll make it to the end. Usually it's a girl.
Yep.
And do you know, I watch specials on horror movies. That was done by design.
Really?
A lot of that.
Really?
They were trying to scare kids into not having sex and partying. So a lot of
Okay.
these teen horror movies are about kids drinking, doing drugs, having sex, and they were all getting killed. But it had the exact reverse effect. And everyone went to Halloween parties, got drunk, got high, had sex while they were watching these horror movies.
Yep.
And they became some of the biggest movies at the time. You know,
They did.
Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, they're classics.
They are.
You know, the older movies put a little bit more into it, the Alfred Hitchcock movies and stuff like that.
Yes.
Stuff like The Shining.
Yeah,
Stephen
but
King.
the
But
slasher
the
genre-
slasher films were actually made to scare kids from doing what they were doing, and it just enhanced it. So that's a nice, interesting fact. Yeah, we got a couple minutes left, so I was going to get into the Walking Dead and American Horror Story. We can't do both, but have you been watching American Horror Story?
I have not. I need to go back and revisit the first seasons. The only
Yeah, all right. Charlie Brown's a great pumpkin episode. Starring Linus, that was
the
a
only
great
American
classic,
Horror
too.
Story season I watched in its entirety was Freak Show, and it just happened one night. The first episode was on, and I just ended up watching it, and I kind of got sucked into the storyline, and I had to watch the entire season. So now I feel I should go back and revisit the first season. And
If any of my friends watch it and they're up to date, send me a message later, because I do have a question about it, because they're like in the middle of the apocalypse, and now all of a sudden
right now,
everything's
yes.
fine. So I watched every episode, but I may not have stayed awake for all of them, because I'm
Okay.
thinking I might have missed a big chunk of something, because things aren't lining up, or it's just a flaw in the
Right.
movie. And real quick, while we got a minute left, I'm going to talk about The Walking Dead. A lot of people are trashing it. I like this season. I liked last season. Not everything's going to be about killing hordes of zombies every week or infighting.
yeah, you just
I like what they're doing. I'm done with Rick. Nice Rick doesn't work. And it's, you know, to be fair, it is becoming the same storyline over and over. They meet this group that's bad. Rick is a wuss. They start defeating him. He comes into Crazy Rick. He defeats him, kills him, and then they move on to the next group and
becomes
you know,
Soft Rick again.
it's time for a different storyline. So I hope you enjoyed this week. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check out Rob Romeo and go to Treme this Wednesday for his Halloween special. Say The Devil Made Me Do It for half price admission. Go to the Chamber of Horrors. Go to the Gateway Haunted House. Get it in while you can this week. Go to Kayla Logistics for all your logistic needs. I don't know what I did with that, but hey, hope you all had a good time.
Do we have another call?
Yeah, they're too late anyway. But we will see you next week.